Hi everyone and welcome to Cards on the Table, a podcast by the Referees Association. My name's Joe Larkin and today I'm delighted to be joined by Ian Murphy, who is a current observer for Level 2B and 3 referees and the former Appointments Officer for Birmingham County FA. Ian, how are you doing?
Good, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for taking the time to come and join me today and talk about your role within refereeing at the moment and some of your previous work that you've done before. But before we get into all that, I think it's always a good place to start is for you to just tell me a bit about your refereeing journey and how you got into refereeing in the first place.
My refereeing journey, okay. Well, I passed my course on in April 1990. That was a long time ago. I was 14 when I passed, and then started refereeing the following season when I was 15. I did children's football for a couple of years, and then 16 moved on to open age football. Then made contributory league. Then unfortunately had to stop refereeing on a Saturday for a while due to work commitments, but continued throughout with Sunday league football, and only really stopped doing Sunday league football about 5 or 6 years ago to concentrate on observing, which I do now. So all in all, I did about 25 years as an active referee.
So would you say it was the focus on observing that made you give up the whistle, so to speak, in terms of an active match official?
Yeah, I think it was. So I concentrate, and I try to do my reports on a Sunday now, Sunday morning, Sunday lunchtime. So it gives me the whole of the morning to concentrate on that. But I was thinking about going back doing a bit of Sunday league. I was talking to you recently about it. So watch this space. You never know.
Well, there's always games to be filled, so I'm sure you'd be welcomed with open arms. But over 25 years active match official, you must have had some pretty memorable moments. Is there any that sort of stick out in your head that you'd like to maybe mention?
Oh wow, some tough games, some cup finals that were memorable. When I was just a youngster, when I was I think I was 18 or 19, I was fourth man on an FA Cup third round game. Some really good contrib games I was on. Really enjoyed the refereeing. Really enjoyed Sunday mornings as well. Love the crack on a Sunday morning.
So I know I mentioned in the introduction as well, you held another role at Birmingham County FA as the appointments officer, doing county cups, different county appointments. How did you get involved with that, and how did you find that experience?
It's tough. It's a really tough job. I don't envy any appointments officer. I did the appointments for Birmingham County, as well as appointing the assessors, the observers for the 5 to 4 scheme. It's a tough job. It's always I always admire and respect appointments officers. Have a tough job.
The phone going off 7 days a week. I need a ref here. I need this. I need that. Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, and let down at the last minute, and you rely on your available and your trusted match officials, certainly.
Yeah, I certainly don't envy anyone that takes up that role. So you mentioned there, when you mentioned you've obviously been observing full time and refereeing for the last few years. When was it that you first got into observing?
When I came back originally to do Saturdays, I started doing. So I was level 5. I started doing a little bit on the local leagues, and then the opportunity, or I saw the opportunity to move into observing, assessing as it was at the time, and thought, oh, I'll give that a go, and went past the course and started off. And like many referees, for instance, they don't last a long time, or and observers they think we'll take the course, we'll see how we go. But I really enjoyed it, and went from doing parks football to moving on to supply league. Supply league official for observer for a while, and then 2012 I moved on to contributory league, which I still do, which is level 3 referees and level 2B referees.
So what do you think it was? You mentioned that you really fell in love with it and enjoyed the observing experience. What do you think it was that really made you think, oh, this is something for me? This is something that I would like to take as far as I can.
Yeah, I like the fact that I can pass on my experience, like 20 odd years of matches, an awful lot of matches, an awful lot of scenarios, and being an observer is you're putting yourself into the position of the referee. You're saying, Why did the referee do that? How could he have done it better? For instance, when he he or she does something really well, and you recognise that, and you learn that through your job of observing, and I've now been doing it over 10 years, so I've watched an awful lot of matches. It's different to watching a game on the telly or sitting in the stand at a football game. In the game, we're concentrating with the guardian of standards, but we're also watching the match rules constantly, and what they do, and we're making sure that the concentration levels are there, and that's the really important part. Refereeing must keep their concentration throughout the match, and sometimes the only reason a referee is talked about after a game is regarding match-changing decisions. But we don't just, as observers, bet on those, we bet on everything, the whole. It's really important that a referee manages what they are able to manage. For instance, time getting into the game, giving yourself enough time, matching, looking the part, fitness. You can manage all of these. Once you then walk onto the field of play, you don't know what you're going to have to manage. So it's important to manage what you.
So you've obviously had experience observing at a county level, then supply, and then moving on to Contrib 2B. Is there anything that sticks in your mind as you move through those levels that you sort of noticed made the difference with a certain referee at a different level? Is there something that sticks out?
Referees, the higher you go, are more proactive. They tend to be more proactive, whereas a bit lower down, you tend to find that referees were more reactive. They react to what's happening rather than looking at the big, reading the game, seeing where the tensions are, diffusing tensions before they build up. A little bit lower down, it's more recognising that there's been an issue and then dealing with it, being reactive. And that's what sets up the higher level officials. Fair play. Some of the supply league officials are getting this now, and obviously with coaching that's going on, and they're being taught how to recognise issues. But it's always good to see a referee that can see things happening, is alert and aware before things actually do happen, and when they're able to nip it in the bud. And that's something that lots of people who watch football and pundits, for instance, don't see. They just rely on match change incidents, and that's it. So that's what our job is. And recognising good practice is as much part of our job as looking for development points or looking to give development advice. It's saying well done on that, keep it up.
So do you think that feeds into this idea that as you move up through the levels, perhaps moving towards the professional ranks of the game, that football is more than just that 90 minutes, and it becomes more of managing the occasion, managing the event, and a referee has a very big part to play in that?
Yeah, for sure. The art of successful refereeing is to let the game develop in a free way, if you like, bring the game to a safe conclusion. And your job is obviously there to sanction when you need to, and getting these decisions right at the right time. And as I said already, being proactive, looking for potential issues, for instance, whether it be time wasting, whether it be persistent offenders, whether it be tension players. This is all part of what a referee needs to do, and that's what we're there to encourage and give advice on.
I think that's key, isn't it? And I think it's something that perhaps those that aren't involved in refereeing won't grasp, is that you're not there to say to the referee, you've got that wrong, you've got that penalty wrong in the 93rd minute. And that's probably what you get told by supporters when you're sat in the stand on a Saturday afternoon, that the referee's done this or done that. But you're there for so many things that the spectators won't see or understand in a referee.
That's you've got it spot on. We see the things that other people, although they're there for them to see, they don't actually recognise, because they haven't had the experience, if you like, of being in that position whereas we observers have, and we can use our experience, and we can see flash points. It's easier for us being up in the stand and have a good overview of what's going on. Remember, the referee and the assistants are at the level, and that makes their job even more difficult. And for instance, when we go into a debrief after a game, I would never go in and say, you got that wrong, that wrong. What we do is we referee what they saw and ask them, you know, what did you see? And they explain it to us. And lots of the time they'll just say to us, yeah, I think I was in a bit of a, not in the best position I could have been, or I was slightly unsighted, and trying to tease the information out. So we can then give advice. So for instance, if they do get a decision wrong, we will say, well, you know, from what I saw, you did get this wrong, and the reason for it was whatever positioning. And then we'll give them advice how they can improve it and which position they should have been in. So maybe in the next game, if there's a similar scenario, they can actually make that position so they can have a better viewing angle to get the optimum view. And that's our job. That's to improve, not to criticise, it's to improve.
So in terms of that improvement, obviously without going into too much specifics, because that wouldn't be fair, of course, is there anything that you as an observer perhaps see referees do quite often, or you see it on multiple occasions, where it's something that you think would be great if referees didn't do that? Or is there a bit of advice that you would give to referees as a whole from an observer's point of view?
I think the main issue, I think one of the issues, we could be here all day really, but concentration. When the game goes 4 or 5-0, when there's a lull in the game, when there's an injury, a stoppage of some sort, sometimes you can see the match officials, not necessarily the referee, but could be the assistants, and they're daydreaming, they're not concentrating. And that lack of concentration can miss something. So they must keep aware, they must keep alert, they must keep their concentration throughout. And also, you find a lot of the time that once there's an incorrect decision or a poor decision, or a decision that perhaps I didn't feel was correct, and the fans don't think is correct, that's it's like that's followed by another one. So that's something that as a referee you say, try not to be effective. Don't you've got that first one right, make sure you get the next one. Try not to get the second one wrong. But you see that an awful lot. Like I said, they're like 2 decisions, 2 poor decisions, 2 incorrect decisions. And sometimes, again, that's linked to concentration. Worrying about that decision when that should be it, it's gone. You know, when a player or you know, passes the ball and it goes out of play, they don't worry about it, they just go on with the game. And referees should be more like that as well. And the better ones are, they'll make that one decision, and the next one they'll be in the right position. They'll raise the game to make sure they don't have that second one.